Right. So first thing, I introduce myself first. I don't know whether there's any outsiders or not. If you're outsiders, you haven't been to my class before, then my name is Cindy. Okay. So I have my YouTube channel. So in case if you feel like you want to revise for other chapters, which is after chapter 1 or 2, I have chapter 3, 4 in my YouTube channel as well. So you can learn from your usual class, and if you need explanation, you can just watch from there, lah. Okay. So this is my YouTube channel. And also you can access to me through Instagram. And my Instagram name is, oh my god, 老师. This is a pinyin version of our Chinese term of teacher. Okay. So because I like to say oh my god a lot. That's why my students tell me that I should name myself oh my god 老师. Yeah. I keep saying oh my god all the time. But I think it's lesser now because when someone tells you that you're doing something like a lot, then you will start to be aware of it. So that's why I don't think I say so much of oh my god now. But yeah, since I'm already being called oh my god, so I just didn't change my name lah. Okay, so you can access to me through there if you want to ask me questions later after the class, or maybe you cannot think of it now. It's okay, you can ask me after the session now, okay, through Instagram. So today we are gonna be covering 2 chapters. I don't think I want to be that ambitious because 2 hours is not a lot. Because my usual class is 1.5 hours. I can easily spend 1.5 hours on the same topic. So that's why I'm telling you guys. My plan is we will do 2 chapters, chapter 1 and chapter 2. But I will focus more on chapter 1 because chapter 1 is theory, and it will come out in all your exams, like your first exam, second exam, midterm, or even when it comes to form 5, you will still see bab 1. Okay, now for bab 2, bab 2 is about klasifikasi, which is very important. So I am not focusing on the penyata kewangan part. I will only cover these 2, which is klasifikasi and persamaan. But based on my Mandarin class earlier, I don't think I will be able to complete entirely for the persamaan, but at least I will get to show you how you should solve the question, and we will try to attempt for filling it up a certain part. Okay, I will guide you through it. So then now let's begin. I will start from page number 2. So you can follow through. If you do not have the notes and PDF doesn't work for you because you don't have an iPad, things like that, it's okay one. Just grab a piece of paper and write down whatever you think is important lah. So I will only be covering a certain subtopics. I didn't put everything in here because bab 1 is gonna take up a lot of time to explain entirely. So I only tell you things that is gonna come up for your exam. So example like this one here, right, from your bab 1, it's called the Gitaran Perikanan. Gitaran Perikanan is showing you how you're gonna do your recording works. So we're talking about a cycle here. Okay, now this cycle will have 8 steps, 8 peringkat. So I will use this part to introduce to you guys what topics you will be learning in your Form 4 syllabus. Total for Form 4, we have 9 chapters. Okay, total Form 4 is 9 chapters, yeah. And so chapter 1 and chapter 2 is out of the cycle because chapter 1 and 2 is like basic ma. They teach you, they introduce you about account, they give you the basics of what categories we have, and then next you're gonna apply it to your recording cycle. So document is the first one from our cycle here, but you're gonna learn it on the 3rd chapter, Form 4 bab 3. Now, if you're joining my usual class, I have already finished bab 3 and is finishing buku catatan pertama, which is Form 4 bab 4 currently. So on the next month, which is June, coming week of the class of our Form 4 class, I'm moving on to Leja already. So whoever joined my class usually should already follow through the steps, okay? But for those of you here who are new to my class and you're just here for the revision of bab 1 and bab 2, then 3, 4 should be soon for your schools, because I don't think school teachers are so fast, right? Recently, you guys have a lot of holidays. So I guess some of the school teachers are only starting chapter 3 now, and you will slowly go to bab 4 lah. But don't worry, because I think most schools are having exams on August. Some is June, July lah, but you still have a month. So I think they wouldn't come up with so much of things. But if it's August exam, then you should expect your exam question to have chapter 1, chapter 2, of course, chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 5. So usually the usual way of how the exam papers are is going to be your midterm exam to come out for these 3 chapters. They are actually a connecting step. So you should be able to go from document. This is talking about the receipts that we have from every transactions happen in your business. But of course, the receipts that we're talking about here must involve 2 parties, or I would say it's official, means something has happened. If you're telling me that this piece of paper is only for a reminder, then we wouldn't consider it as a document to record inside of our books. So you must make sure that the receipts are like an official transaction. The buying or selling did happen, or even any payment receiving, then we can record them into our books to proceed into this step, which is called the ledger. Okay. So usually your midterm exam should cover these 3 lah. And as we go into the year-end exam, then you will start to see questions from imbangan duga connecting to pelarasan and to finish with penyata kewangan. So I'm telling you guys how the questions are asked. Okay, normally imbangan duga, you will learn it at Form 4 bab 6. It will be as a question. So they will give you this as a soalan. You will use them content inside to apply pelarasan, which is of Form 4 chapter 8. Okay, now what is a pelarasan? Just saying first lah, okay, because you will learn it very soon, like before the year end. Because pelarasan is before your year end exam, right? So pelarasan here, we're talking about doing adjustments. Means you need to do like corrections on things that you did not get to record down, or any missing items that you will add on. So the pelarasan step, once it's done, for the formal cycle, you would need to prepare another form of imbangan duga, which is called the imbangan duga terselaras, but not so much lah. In exam, they don't expect you to do this for them. Okay, they will want you to get the new information adjusted on that imbangan duga, because as I said, this is a question, right? So all the numbers inside, you can change them. And once they've changed, it's actually called the imbangan duga terselaras. So that's why in exam, they don't need you to prepare this for them. They will want you to apply the answers straight into this step, which is called the penyata kewangan. So penyata kewangan is of Form 4 chapter 7. This is our report. Is that okay? Right. So overall, in a cycle, right, we will only see 2 types of questions. The first one is from document to ledger, and the second type of question is from imbangan duga to penyata kewangan. While I would say catatan penutupan is only needed to be memorized for your first exam or objective question, because this cycle thing, right, they might leave a few blank spots, so you need to choose like which step is that. Then maybe they leave it empty. They give you A, B, C to choose, right? Okay, A, B, C, D. Then you choose out which one of it is catatan penutupan. That would be your correct answer. So this one doesn't have a significant move lah, because catatan penutupan is like closing of things. So as you finish one step, of course, you have to close along the way. So here is only like a final checking to see whether we did get to balance every single of them or not. If we did, then that's done. We can go on to prepare our report then. So this is the 8 peringkat. Usually this only comes out in paper 1. Objective. Okay, so don't worry too much, because unless your first exam is going to be held after the holiday, then maybe you will see this kind of question in your paper 2, which is very basic, because first exam is always informal. Means like they don't come up with official questions, but they put like very basic questions, fill in the blanks. But when you go into midterm exam or year-end exam, impossible to have fill in the blanks already. We will have to start preparing our records, which is from document to ledger and so on. Okay, so guys, let's move on to the next part, which is page 3. Now, on page 3, you will see the word sejarah perakaunan. But don't worry, guys, this is not the whole entire sejarah textbook, okay? So we're just talking about a few things of background, like how did account being invented, okay, who started it and so on. But I would say among all of them, right, the one that is the most important should be at abad ke-14. So the person you have to remember is called Luca Pacioli. This is of course important, Luca Pacioli. Other than that is also that his contribution as a bapa perakaunan. Why were he called the Bapa Perikanan? Reason due to he created a bookkeeping way. Bookkeeping means how you record stuff, okay? Using catatan bergu. And also the other contribution is menerbitkan buku matematik. So it's a bit funny because Luca Pacioli is not an accountant. So he started off as ahli mathematics, means mathematician. So you see, what's his job? He's supposed to be creating like formulas and things like that, right? And accidentally he created this system catatan bergu, which is applicable to our account, and then he became the Bapa Perikanan. So I would say his contribution is accidental. Like he didn't plan for it. He was a mathematician and just suddenly, oh, it works. Okay, then I'm the Bapa Perikanan, something like that. So I think during the exam, right, you have to be careful because they will give you the obvious answer which you think is correct. But if you read this sejarah, you would know he has nothing to do with accounts at all. It's because of the catatan bergu that he became a Bapa Perikanan. That's the only thing. So if they were to ask you, okay, apakah sumbangan Luca Pacioli? Sorry, I read the name wrongly. Luca Pacioli. Okay, apakah sumbangan? So you make sure your answer to be chosen are A, B, C, D, right? Can only be either sistem catatan bergu or menerbitkan buku matematik. So I told you guys that they will like to come up with some terms that they think you guys would choose, which is when it comes to menerbitkan buku, they put buku account. Everybody's gonna choose that. But I said already, Luca Pacioli has nothing to do with accounts. He doesn't learn account actually. He's not an accountant, he learns maths, okay? But just accidental. He created a system which is applicable to account. That is why he became Bapa Perikanan. Okay, so you can only choose from these two lah. Don't choose other things. Okay. And okay, one thing is just in case if they were to come out with like a other term. Okay, now what you can expect is maybe they might call the system catatan bergu as system Venice. So this was like the olden days where they first discovered system catatan bergu. They call it the system Venice because I mean like Luca Pacioli called it system Venice himself because he created it at Venice, Italy. So that's why he called it system Venice. And then afterwards, he find it very weird to call it Venice. Like people don't understand what does it mean. That's why he changed it to catatan bergu. So actually the term bergu, right, is meaning double. But I think some of my students told me actually bergu is not the correct way. To say double is beregu, but I would say maybe at that time they decided that bergu sounds better than system catatan beregu. So that's why it's called catatan bergu now. Is that okay? So in English, we call it the double entry system. Now in our chapter 1 and chapter 2, you don't need this system yet. The official time where you use the system catatan bergu is when you go into chapter 3 question. That is the 3, 4, 5 together. Okay. All right. So for those of you who normally join my class, have already experienced it, like the asset belanja thing left and right side. So now in chapter 2, no such thing yet. We are still following through A equals to L plus EP for now in chapter 1 and 2. Okay. Right, let's move on. Next, on page 4. Now, page 4 here is talking about badan-badan perikanan. So we're talking about bodies. Now, I'm not talking about body, not this body. I mean, it's like a group, okay? Group. All right, now these groups, they have their own purposes. Like you can see on top, right? It's called Badan Kawal Selia, Badan Penggubal Piawaian, Badan Professional Perikanan. So we have 3 types. The first one is to control, okay, which in English we call it the regulatory. So we have like some rules to follow through. Then this institution is going to be the one who controls the quality and to, of course, give examination to people to see whether they are qualified to be part of them or not. So MIA does this, okay? When in exam, what you need to do is to choose them in short form. They will never ask for the full name. Is that okay? So even in paper 1, they will just give you a sentence of what's happening, and they want you to choose which badan is supposed to be responsible for it. So let me tell you, like MIA here, right? It's supposed to have these few, those that I bolded up, is to be the important one. But actually, what is popular recently is this one. Mempromosi dan mempopularkan profession. Sorry, my pen is having some problems, so you will see me keep drawing the same thing again and again, okay? So, mempromosi dan mempopularkan profession perakaunan. So, profession means like the job. It's like they are trying to promote, okay, we have this job, you can be an accountant. So that's what they are trying to do. Their intention is to help to introduce the profession to everybody. So then at the same time also to promote to make people want to become an accountant. So this is what the MIA do. Otherwise, usually it will be about kelayakan. Whether you qualify to be part of us or not. Qualified. Okay, so this is the first group. Now the second body is going to call the MASB. Now MASB is about standard setting. So what they do is they will set a standard for how you prepare everything in account. So their task is mainly on whether menerbitkan or even to menerbitkan menerbitkan, menyemak atau memperbagi. So anyways, the keyword is piawaian lah. So if you ever see the word piawaian, only choose MASB. Piawaian is standard in BM. Okay, standards. So it can be coming up with a new standard because the previous one is too outdated, and or maybe it's not that outdated, just a few points that we think we should change. It's just like how your syllabus, right, for every subject changes every few years. Maybe because it's outdated, it doesn't apply anymore. So what they do is actually to help change the standard, okay, if it's needed. And now for the professional accounting body, right, they are all for you to join in as a member to see what field you're interested in. Okay, now MICPA is about penyelidikan dan pembangunan. So what they do is to help build this bidang, okay, build the profession to become better. So the main job here is to do research and development of the profession. Of course, you all know that research and development is not just in the lab. Okay, you might think that it's like doing experiment and things like that, but not necessarily lah. The research and development can be done through the internet. I can use the computer to do it as well. So because account doesn't involve experiment, right? So what they do is they will have to research on whether, like, based on the latest economic status and things like that, how would we record all this stuff in any new additions of assets, liability, and equity were made, then they will be the one who add on. Okay, so this is MICPA. For CIMA and ACCA, CIMA is about management accountants. So, in chapter 1, we learn about few fields of accounting, right? We can have perakaunan keuangan. You can have perakaunan pengurusan perakaunan. You can also have audit dan percukaian, which is taxation. So CIMA here is for those who studies management accounting. Okay, pengurusan perakaunan pengurusan. So here, what they mainly do is to help menangani perubahan semasa dalam perniagaan. So any recent changes in the company, they will have to help handle with it. So CIMA manages any situation. And now the last one is called the ACCA. Mainly ACCA is I would say like a education group, like that, something like that. So what they do is they approve you as an accountant, as a professional accountant. So in Malaysia, the one that's recognized is ACCA, of course. And what does it benefit you if you were to graduate from ACCA? Now, the benefit is you get to find a job which is of a higher salary. That is the reality okay? So if you just graduate from degree of accounting versus that you graduated from ACCA. It's a different thing because ACCA is a professional level, while degree is only just educational level only. You're not up to par. So if you were to study until ACCA level, you can get a lot of job offers from different companies. Okay, so ACCA is to be registered. So means like you have to become a member of ACCA, then you can take their course and graduate from it. So if you were to get the certificate, of course, you do not need to pay as a member anymore. You will be qualified as a professional accountant, and it's for you to find jobs, of course. And in ACCA, what they do is they will give you pendedahan tentang peraturan dan undang-undang. So means like they explain to you what kind of rules and regulations you have to follow as a professional accountant. So pendedahan means to explain. Okay, right. So we're done with page number 4 already. That is the badan. So when exam time, you guys just be aware that they like to ask about MIA and MASB. You can remember these two mainly, only for the rest of them. And this one is usually in paper 1. Okay, paper 1. So I would say basically from your Form 4 chapter 1, all of them comes out in paper 1. Some in paper 2, but I would say not so. It's only the last part of bab 1 that they like to come out in paper 2. So now I'm showing you guys, yeah, that is the last part. Page number 5. Here, page 5. Right, so what are their names? The groups are Andayan, Prinsip, and batasan. So we have 3 types. You guys can write down first. Okay. They are called prinsip, or they are called concept perakaunan. So the concept, I would say the difference between now and last time syllabus is that last time we call it concept sahaja. So it's very easy for us to answer because any type of the names are called concept, right? But now they branch it out to 3 different types, which is andayan, prinsip, batasan. So I'm not saying that they will only come up with these 3 now, because the thing about SPM account is that they like to come up the old syllabus where the teachers are teaching you the new syllabus. So that is the problem. So I want to tell you guys, you have to cover yourself with a lot of knowledges here, okay? So not just the new name, you also must know of the old name. So just in case if it really comes out with concept, the word, then you know where to get your answer from. Your answers are going to be from the types of andayan, prinsip dengan batasan, any of them which is applicable to the sentence above law. So andayan, prinsip, batasan, right? Each of them. Now andayan will have 4 types. 4 different types of andayan. And prinsip is going to be 3. Batasan is 1. Is that okay? Batasan is 1. So total up, right, the concepts are 8. 8 types. Andayan 4, prinsip 3, and batasan 1. Okay, now we talk about how the answers will be asked. I'll say, of course, you're not going to answer them using andayan, prinsip, batasan. Not answer. These are not your answer. What they want as the answer is entity berasingan, wang sebagai ukuran, usaha berterusan, tempo perakaunan. Now, of course, the 1, 2, 3, 4, right? There's no specific arrangement. Is that okay? The arrangement is according to your liking, as long as you know that under andayan. Okay. So, what is the meaning of andayan? Andayan is assumptions. So over here, the 4 types that we see is the things that we assume we will be able to do. But of course, I say it's not necessary to be done because, example, like the first one here that I want to start explaining, is called usaha berterusan. Now, if you translate it to English, right, it stands for continuous effort. Okay, continuous effort in what? In operating the business. Okay, so here, if you want to know that it is a usaha berterusan, you can look for the kata kunci, which is terus or terus beroperasi. Okay, so they will tell you bagi masa yang berlanjutan ataupun bagi tempoh masa yang tidak tentu. Tidak tentu means not sure. I just want it to keep going on until it cannot go on anymore, but I don't expect it to be within the year. Okay, so the effort must be continuous. I want to keep my business going. This is called usaha berterusan. So you can look for that word. Okay, berterusan ataupun terus beroperasi. This is the first one. Now I said, usaha berterusan is not something that you can assume you want it to be 2 years means 2 years. Sometimes the how long your business can operate is according to the economic situation. So now if the economy of the country is not good, then what happens? You might need to close down, right? However, also need to close down, you're forced to close down. So totally not under your control, but you just try your best, you put your effort, you see. Okay, so usaha berterusan is like that. And while for the rest, say the easy one first. Now, wang sebagai ukuran is assumption because maybe some things are not to be recorded in RM form, but I try my best to make everything in RM so that I can calculate them easily. So it's considered as a calculation method. We go by RM for every single thing, including for items. Yeah, like example, I say the calculator. I don't consider this 1 unit because if you say, hey, teacher, how much is your calculator? I tell you 1 unit. Does it explain? It doesn't explain. So even if you didn't ask me, I were to record 1 into the book. Do I know how much of money I spent on the calculator? I don't know. So that's why it's better for us to calculate them in RM form instead of the unit because unit doesn't explain further. But if you tell me 1 unit is RM 100, I will put a 100 there and that is the value of your calculator. So example, wang sebagai ukuran is to record things in RM form. So example, membeli perabot bernilai RM 1000 di record. So of course, the sentence doesn't have to have other meanings. It's just telling you like a very normal transaction. Okay, you bought something, then what you want me to understand from here? The point is you understood that we have recorded the perabot. I didn't tell you how much of a unit. I told you that I bought furnitures and they are worth 1,000 ringgit. And that's what you record, RM 1,000 into your perabot. Is that okay? So this is for the second one. Now the first one and the fourth one, right, like this, okay? The first one, entity berasingan, is talking about to separate, okay? To separate how you record the things of your pemilik versus your perniagaan. So we're trying to have things to be recorded very clearly, making sure that it's only related to business that you record inside the buku perekanan. So you want your pemilik to be separated out from the perniagaan. So here we're talking about any personal transaction. Will not be recorded. While pemilik is to not record personal, right? Then perniagaan, okay, one thing. If this is the situation, pemilik mengambil wang dari perniagaan. Now this one direkod sebagai ambilan. Now, it is also considered as entity berasingan. Why is that? Because now you know that this money came out from the business, right? Of course, it's gotta be something to do with the perniagaan already. How can you not record it? Because as it is taken out, the money of the business will get lesser. So obviously, it's gonna involve my perniagaan here and a relationship with the pemilik. So what should we do is, if you want to follow through the rule of entity berasingan, is that, yes, you record it from your perniagaan, but you have to make the explanation clear that it is for kegunaan sendiri, which we call it the ambilan. Okay, so technically, right, to identify entity berasingan is pretty straightforward. As long as you see it is pemilik and perniagaan, personal stuff, or even to take things from the business, then confirm already is going to be entity berasingan. So you can look up for words such as ambilan or model. These two, yeah? All right, so let's move on to tempoh perakaunan. Tempoh perakaunan is talking about period of time. So when is the ending period of your report? Okay, so we must make sure that you set me a time. So as an accountant, I know what I should record into the report. Is it going to be from 1st January to 31st October or from 1st January to 31st December? You have to give me a very clear guide on which date I would have to end on. Period of time. So we have 3. Wait, guys. Okay, we're gonna have 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. So the term for 3, 6, and 12 is what? The term for 3 is called suku tahun. Actually, suku in English is called quarter. Okay, quarter of the year, which is like this. 1/4. Is that understandable? So why is it every 3 months? Because if you want to split your year into 1/4, which is 4 times, okay, 12 to divide by 4, isn't it 3 months for you to prepare each report so that you can end up with 4 reports total? But let me tell you, it's very crazy. You wouldn't want to do the suku tahun unless, okay, your business is that big that you feel like if you were to not record it every 3 months, you will lose track. Then yeah, suku tahun would be suitable for you. But if you're a small business, it's definitely not needed for you to do suku tahun. Your income is already that few. You still want to split it into every 3 months. You're not going to have a lot of money to be recorded. Maybe each month is like 200, 300 ringgit. So what's the point, right? You're going to waste your effort, okay? So most of the businesses, they will go by setahun, 1 year. I would say yearly is the best way that you can compare because if you say setengah tahun, I split the year into 6 and 6 months, okay? Now, in the end, when people ask me how much you earn for the year, right, I will still need to combine the first half of the year and the later half of the year together to get it to become a total of the year, right? So at the end of the day, who would care about setengah tahun? Not much. So it's only a matter of whether you need it or not. Is it necessary to split into suku tahun or even setengah tahun? 6 months to record once, okay? Now, tempo here, right, usually they talk about the word tempo, or you can find for whether they say setahun, setengah tahun, suku tahun, or even to talk about membuat laporan keuangan. And they give you tarik from 1st Jan to 31st December, then you know the answer is tempo perakaunan. All right, so this is our andayat. Now we move on to the bottom. We have another 3 more types under prinsip. Now, prinsip is meaning like I would say a rule that you follow. Prinsip is like rule, because if you translate it to English, right, it's called principles. Isn't it the same thing? Okay, so principles means I have things to follow through. Is that okay? So that's why I call it the rule. The rule here we have 3. First one is called the ketegalan. So you see, I put a bracket by the side, consistent. It is in BM, but English we pronounce it the same lah, okay? Consistency, that is called ketekalan. Now, what do we want to be consistent on? We want to be consistent on the method or the procedures that you have prepared something. So you want to make sure that if, let's say in now, 2023, you have prepared it this way, then on next year, 2024, you wouldn't change the method of reporting. So everything must be uniform. When you started it this way, every year it will be the same. So example, like we say interest rate, not, of course, not the ones that is outsiders to set for it. If you say you borrow from the bank and the bank charges you interest for it, you cannot control that because bank will be the one who increase the rate or decrease the rate, right? But if we talk about percentage in the business, usually we're talking about susut nilai. Okay, what is the susut nilai? Just for advanced knowledge, because you will only learn about it in chapter 8, form 4 chapter 8, but it's good to know right now, okay? So example, susut nilai dikira 10% pada kenderaan setiap tahun. Okay, so you can see that it is kira 10% setiap tahun. The method of how you calculate this thing called susut nilai is going to be consistent every year. So no matter which year you're at, you're going to calculate 10% from them as long as you did use the entire year. So you see, what is the susut nilai? Just telling you in advance, okay? Susut nilai is what we say as depreciation of value. Now, to put it in an informal way, depreciation can also be known as decreasing of value. Is that okay? So you just remember D lah. D means decrease. All right, so susut nilai is what we calculate for how much we have lost from this type of assets, because as we bought a kenderaan, I mean, I will have hold of the value, but the thing is, as you use it, the wear and tear will cause your kenderaan to be lower of price, and as you sell it back to the outside people, they will of course ask for the latest market value instead of your original price. Okay, so susut nilai, I'll say anything that gonna include calculation, then you would choose ketekalan. Is that okay? So sama. So the keyword is kaedah yang sama. Is that okay? Kaedah yang sama. So next one is called the prinsip cost. Now you see, the word cost, right, is used widely in account, but we have few different meanings of it. Okay, number one, cost, we see it as the original value or the original price where you bought it. So to be easier to understand is when the moment you bought it, how much did you spend? So actually cost, right, can also be known as expenses. Okay, the amount of money you spend on the item, it is called the cost. So here, what we are going to focus on is that if you go by prinsip cost, means every valuable that you buy in, you should record them as original, no matter how many years you have used it. So this is somehow related to the susut nilai earlier here, because I want to know whether at the end, when I decided to sell it, how much of a kerugian I will face. Because let's say I have bought in the kenderaan with 50,000 worth, okay? 50,000. And so over here, I calculate the depreciation of value every single year, right? And I turned out to get 3,000 accumulated after 3 years. So if I were to sell it after 3 years, how much should I sell to the outsider? 50,000. I minus 3,000, I will know that the market value now is around 47,000. If I get to sell it at 48,000 or just like 47,500, I would consider myself earning, because there's a difference of 500 ringgit, right? So that's why the principal cost here is to make sure you can accumulate the depreciation, but never to change the original price, because otherwise I wouldn't remember how much we bought it at initially. So you will see the sentence that is provided to you is pretty long. Okay, they will make sure to explain further, like from the first place as you bought it, beli is nilai 50,000. And after 3 years, I will still record 50,000. Never change. So you know this is a principal cost. And one thing, since you guys should already learn up to chapter 2 lah, don't think this is a new thing to you. Cost is only applicable to asset, bukan semasa, which is like kenderaan, jentera, machine, premise, perabot, lengkapan, and so on. Yeah, so only ABS that you can have principal cost on. So if the things that they mentioned is not at all an ABS, then you don't consider principal cost already. Okay, so now the last part of principal is called pengiktirafan hasil dan belanja. Hasil means income. Belanja means expenses. So we are talking about pengiktirafan. Pengiktirafan hasil dan belanja means to verify it into the true figure. So as we want it to be the true figure, why? The intention is so that when I calculate untung or rugi, I will get the true figure as well. Yeah, so here we don't care about how much you paid or how much you received. What I want is how much should you receive? How much should you pay? Sebenar means should receive or pay. So that's why when you see prinsip perakaunan of the pengiktirafan type, right, they will come up with questions mentioning about hasil or belanja name. So even if you don't recognize all this behind, it's okay one, because out of all the concepts, I only have one type, which include hasil dan belanja, which is this one over here. Okay, so the kata kunci, if they ever mention hasil or belanja, or maybe they just give you a name of hasil, commission. Yeah, then you know it's gonna be pengiktirafan hasil dan belanja. Okay, now for the last one here, it's called the batasan. By the way, guys, batasan, I didn't put the name. The type here is called cost manfaat. Okay, sorry, I missed out the term here. So cost manfaat is actually supposed to be doing what? Okay, we take batasan first. Okay, batasan is like challenge. We're talking about a challenge that we have to face when it comes to recording things in your account. And of course, not as just accountant now. We say if you're looking at yourself as a business owner, this is the challenge that you have faced, you have to consider. Now, cost manfaat, you think of manfaat as benefits, okay? We translate it to English, means cost, benefit. You want to make sure that the amount you spend is going to bring you benefits. Is that okay? To make sure that the cost you spend is going to bring you benefit. Making sure cost spent brings benefit. But of course, we want to maximize our benefit, right? By what way? Of course, if you lower down your cost, you will be able to maximize your benefit, your keuntungan. So the point here of cost manfaat is that I want the cost to be as low as possible so that I can earn as much as possible. Okay, so how is this done? Let me explain to you first, okay? Now, example, normally batasan is to have given you two choices of expenses. And in the end, pemilik have chosen one of it. Why? The reason is because maybe that type of expenses can bring the best results. Okay, so now I give example. Okay, I'm trying to buy ingredient from seller A versus seller B. Now I'm buying it from them. I need to choose one of the seller. Okay, now seller A is selling to me at 1 unit 5 ringgit, while seller B is selling to me at 1 unit 4.50 ringgit. Now here, my consideration is whether or not the difference, it will make a difference because it is very slight difference, right? 50 cent difference lower. But if you think about it, the more you buy, the more discount you will get further. So for now, if considering the price, obviously Celebi will be the better choice for me. Because if I were to sell the product for maybe let's say 15 ringgit, you see, it cost me 5 ringgit to buy 1 unit in, means that at the end, I will only get to earn 10 ringgit, right? Because my hasil, jalan is hasil, my income deducts the expenses, I get a difference of 10 ringgit. And while if I were to buy in the ingredients at 4 ringgit 50 cent, I will get to earn 10 ringgit 50 cent. Again, that is also higher than the previous ingredient. So that is why at the end, we have chosen the cost that is lower, quality is the same, and yet I can earn the most money. So usually batasan per akaun, right? I've seen the popular question. They usually talk about pemilik bercadang membuka cawangan baru ataupun membesarkan perniagaan sedia ada. Now, they don't even need to tell you what the pemilik chosen in the end. The main point is they give you one of the cadangan is to open a new branch at somewhere else. And second is to widen the business type, maybe on the variation of product or even renovate the existing branch itself. So this is the two choices given. We will choose batasan per akaun because you're facing a challenge right now, which would be more beneficial to you because both is also expenses. You see, it's all cost. Okay, now we have finished with whatever of bab satu that I think is very, very important. Now, of course, I'm not saying the rest of the part in chapter 1 is not important, that you don't need to cover. Say, of course, you need to, but you just have to read through. And if anything you don't understand, you can also ask me, okay? But for now, these are the ones that you have to focus on. All right, now let's move on to chapter 2 already on page number 6. Is everyone done? Anyone still writing? Are you guys done? Nana, okay, good. So I'm gonna move on to page number 6 already. Okay. Hey, hi, Sanjana. I see you. All right. So come, bab 2. Now on page 6, these things, right, I've covered a lot in my classes run because I would tell you that bab 2 is the most important topic out of all. Even though chapter 1 is going to come out in every single exam, it's not like bab 2 is not like that also. Bab 2 is the same because this thing, classifikasi account, would be asked in even paper 2, the first question. So they will give you a term. Example, apakah klasifikasi alatan pejabat? You must be able to write the answer, aset bukan semasa, that you get 1 mark there. So it's very easy to score if you get to know how to classify them, to split them into their own categories. So now we're going to talk about, now the topic in bab 2 is 3 lah. We have jenis, klasifikasi, we have penyata kewangan, we also have persamaan perakaunan. So I put like red color, you know why? Because my priority in this seminar is to make sure you understand how to do a persamaan perakaunan. But before we move into there, how can I not explain about klasifikasi? Because I get you guys don't know how to differentiate, okay? Now, klasifikasi, we have 5. Just saying that the official formula is this or with belanja hasil added on. Okay, so this is the official one. I would say the fuller version is the bottom. Okay, the fuller version is the bottom. But usually as we do chapter 2, right, we don't go to excuse me. Hold on. Excuse me, wait. got choked a bit there. Okay, now I say usually in chapter 2, we don't use the second formula because belanja and hasil in chapter 2 is not going to be written by themselves. It will be sorted into another type of classification, which is called the equity pemilih. So in chapter 2, we will actually be applying the first formula, the basic one. So this one is only beyond chapter 2, means from chapter 3 onwards, you will start to use belanja and hasil of their own. Okay, now we talk about the jenis klasifikasi lah. Assets here, okay, just remember, we understand them as your valuables. And by saying they are your valuables means something you own. But here, it's very hard to say that it's only you own because asset is considered as for the perniagaan. So technically, you don't see it as something you own. Instead, something the business own. Okay, it's impossible for me to add the over there, so I just put a business word to replace the you lah. So you need to know how to classify it as an asset. If this item belongs to the pemilik, not to be brought in inside the business, you don't see it as an asset. Unless, yes, the pemilik owns the car, but he decided to bring the car into the shop, then we will see that car as a type of asset. Okay, so you need to make sure that asset is something physical that you can see, you can hold, or even to keep them. It belongs to you. But if you talk about hasil is different. Hasil is a reason of why money increased. Is that okay? So both hasil and belanja, right, is only to explain a reason why money comes in or why money goes out. It's okay. Now, sometimes, right, the hasil and belanja doesn't directly involve with money, but it also makes us earn more. So we can consider it as a type of hasil or a type of belanja. So asset is something that you can see, you own it. While belanja is like services. Example, a lot of people would think that, okay, I rent the house, means the house is my asset. No, if you're only renting the house, then the house doesn't belong to you. You are paying rent so that you can be in the house, right? You can live in the house. So the moment when you stop paying rental, do you know what will happen? You stop paying rental, you're gonna get halal out from the house now, of course. Do you still get to live inside or not? You don't. So that's why we consider it as a belanja, because this thing is a temporary thing. You don't own it. You can only pay to use the service. Example like Wi-Fi, electric, you want to use water. Okay, all this you have to pay for. So we don't see it as an asset. We see them all as a belanja sahaja. So if you ever see sewa dibayar, I'm pretty sure at the beginning when you guys first started learning classifikasi, all of the students would think that sewa should be put into asset of premise type because you are renting a shop, I know, but the kedai doesn't belong to you. Why would you add it to the premise? You don't. Okay, premise is buildings or place where it belongs to you, like a house. If you buy the house and you finish paying everything, okay, you put it under asset. But let me tell you, even if I bought a house, but it's under loan from the bank, it doesn't belong to me until where I can finish paying off the bank. Then we will consider the house as mine. You understand? So asset must be something that you bought with the money and it belongs to the business. Okay. Now, while hasil belanja is only like reasons, explanation to why your money is coming in or going out. And while liability and equity pemilik is the reason where you get your asset from. So I say at the very beginning, the business owner will have to bring in money or items of his own to start the business. So you say asset can exist without your pemilik. Impossible, because those assets were initially belongs to the owner, but he decided to sacrifice his item to bring into the company so that the company can use it. So you see, this is a relationship between the pemilik and the shop. That's why as everything brought in, I must record them under this category called the equity pemilik. So they have a positive relationship. As long as the more things the pemilik brought in, your asset will increase simultaneously, so together. While liability is what? Liability is when I realize, okay, oh, the pemilik brought in money, yes, but it's no longer enough because we have a lot of belanja to pay for. We need to buy assets. So what is the second choice from other than your saving? The pemilik can decide to borrow from the bank. So liability is hutang, means debts. You borrow from outsiders. While equity pemilik is considered, if you want to understand easily, it is a contribution of pemilik. Contribution of pemilik. Okay, so we understand the 5 types first, and now I'm going to talk about the items inside. So guys, beyond bab 2 means from chapter 3 to chapter 8 onwards, everything else other than just in chapter 2, we will be seeing them to be written out by their names. Okay, so I want to say you're not going to mention asset in your answer except if they ask you for klasifikasi. If they ask for klasifikasi, then your answer would be asset, your answer would be liability, or even equity pemilik. So, okay, but if they were to not ask for asset, like the NEP, they ask you for butir. You will choose from the boxes below here. Okay, so you guys can replace the contoh away because I hope that you guys don't misunderstand the contoh as an example. It's not. It's actually as your explanation later. You need to tell me to be exact. You say yes, the pemilik have brought in asset, but what type of asset? You have to be very clear, right? Oh, the pemilik brought in a vehicle. Okay, right? We put under kenderaan. So okay, so you have a specific folder to go into. So it's like in your computer, right? You have the main file, main folder. You click into the folder, you can open May week 1, May week 2, May week 3, May week 4, example like that. So then further on, I can click in to insert whatever that is respective to it. So it's just like now, I open a folder that's called Asset Bukan Semasa. And inside of Asset Bukan Semasa, I have 7 different folders that is meant for different items brought in. So if it's a vehicle, I put kenderaan. If it's a aircon, put lengkapan. Major kerusi, table chairs, I put perabot. Computer, photoset machine, alatan pejabat. So I have places to put them that which is going to represent in different names. Is that okay? So the asset bukan semasa here is going to be called as ABS in short. So the usage of these items here must be more than 12 months. Or setahun, lebih daripada setahun. So 12 months or more than 12 months or setahun. And usually I explain to my students that asset bukan semasa generally are items to be used for your operations. So if you do not have them, it's very hard for you to operate your business on a daily basis. So example, like for TTC, right, we need computer. If you do not have a computer, how does the receptionist gonna give you receipt, right? Cannot print receipt. We need printer as well. So these are necessities. Other than that, we also need cash with us, but cash is no longer considered as item because cash is here, asset semasa. That's why I split them into 2. If you're talking about money, asset semasa. But if it's an item to be used like a tool in your business, asset bukan semasa. That's the main difference. So you see, asset semasa, right, the main types that you will use for payments is these 2, bank and tunai. Now, I say that they are generally money is because, example first one, inventory here is talking about barang niaga. So in chapter 2, whenever you see barang niaga, you will change them into this term called the inventory. So what happens is, whenever you buy in product, of course the inventory will increase. But what is the intention of you buying them in? Because you want to sell, right? As you sell, what would you get? You gain money into your bank or tunai. So the reason why we put inventory here is not because that I will get them into money form. It's also one of the reasons I would say. The other reason is because you won't keep your barang niaga for more than 12 months. You see, we will try our best to clear whatever old stocks before the new stocks come. That's why you don't need to worry that, teacher, what about those stocks that I cannot sell for the entire year? Say, you will try to sell it off with promotion, bundle prices, and things like that. So you will not promote the new stocks before you clear off the old stocks. So that's why inventory should always be under asset semester. And that's the only item that we put over here. Well, you see for ABS is considered tools. Okay? So like kendaraan is vehicles. It can be van, lorry, motorcycle, bicycle also can. Any types of vehicle that can help you travel from a place to another, we consider it kendaraan. So lengkapan, then it's going to be lampu, kipas. And the most popular one, penghawa dingin. Penghawa dingin means aircon, okay? Now, alatan pejabat, the popular ones are computer, printer, pencetak. Now for the perabot, I didn't mention is because perabot is furnitures lah. But the ones that are popular is meja, kerusi, rak, almari. Is that okay? Under perabot. And for premise can be bangunan, kedai, or even tanah is considered premise. While machine and jentera, these two doesn't change names. They are all machineries, but the difference is jentera will be those that is in I would say construction sites, usually where you see them. A bigger size, okay? Heavy machinery. And example, we have crane, forklifter. Okay, so these are the example of general. While machines like machine jahitan, those are smaller type and portable. So we consider the machine. All right. Now for asset semester, only two types are considered money, which is bank and tunai, right? While bank tunai, how you differentiate them? Bank usually is to be written as check or tunai di bank. Okay, while tunai is going to be tunai di tangan. Tunai di tangan. So the rest account belum terima is talking about a person, and this person is our customer. So why is the customer considered under account belum terima? So in short, right, we call them ABT. They are your ABT. So why is it they are your ABT? Mainly because belum terima, right? Okay, now I'm going to branch it out to somewhere so I can write easily for you, okay? Now, the term account belum terima is caused by this. Jual secara kredit. Jual secara kredit. Now, the term secara kredit is meaning to say hutang. You're trying to sell it to your customer, but they are not willing to pay right now. So of course, you will think that it's unreasonable. You try to get the stock from me, and yet you don't want to pay me. Why? Okay, now I would say in business, right, we will have relationship with a lot of people. So the buying and selling doesn't necessarily have to be from those walk-in customer. So right now, this kind of customer is a bit special. We have a business relationship, which he or she is actually having their own shops as well. So they are actually taking stocks from me to sell in their shop. That's why I agreed that I let them buy from me secara credit. And so in that case, we're looking from our point of view. If I were to sell, of course, I need to terima. But the thing is, if it were to be hutang, means belum. I have yet to receive. That's why I will name these people under my account belum terima. So the keyword is actually secara credit. As you see, secara credit, you choose AB. But how to choose the terima or bayar? You go by the word jual atau beli. So if it were to be, sorry, I accidentally pressed, where was I? Okay, now if you were to be choosing jual, means terima. You sell things and you receive. But the other one is supposed to be here. Bayar. So when do you use this? When it is a beli secara credit. Okay, beli secara credit. You buy, so you have to pay for it. Okay, so we have two of them lah. Both also hutang, but different point of view. For here is my customer who owes me, so I'm supposed to get money from them. That's why I get to receive loh. That's what we say lah. Well, for account belum bayar is because I buy, so I'm the person who is in debt. That's why we put under the category of liability. Okay, So we're moving on. Deposit and pelaburan is not so popular, but if they were to come out, just remember that deposit is the first payment, which usually helps you lock the product. Example, I'm buying online. The person would be a bit concerned that what if I were to not come for the product? So they have turned down the other potential customers, right? So here they will ask me to pay a certain amount of deposit. So just like when you rent a house, they will ask for 3 months deposit. So this 3 months deposit is to secure the owner of the house that if let's say you were to not pay the rental, they can forfeit your deposit. The 3 months payment will be into their pocket, and so you will be asked to leave the house. So they don't get rugi from anything. So here, why we put it under asset semasa is because we are not the person who receives the deposit. We are the one who pays the deposit. So I'm actually paying this to something that I want to own for the period of time. So maybe I'm trying to rent something, so I paid the deposit. So if let's say I didn't ruin the item, I get to return it back in a perfect condition. So what is it that I will actually receive back the money into my asset, which is back. Okay, so it's considered my money still, just that for the time being, it is being kept by someone else. So that's the difference. Now, pelaburan means investment here. So as you invest, also we are expecting to get it back at the end. So that's why put it under asset semasa lah. Okay, right. Now, liability, we have two. With that. Okay, so liability stands for hutang. Stands for hutang. Why God? maybe they have things to do. It's okay lah. It's okay. Don't worry. Okay. Come. So maybe they have something to do. It's okay. So I mean like yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. Come, let's continue. Now liability stands for hutang, right? Okay. So here we have two each. The total types of asset we have here is 7 type of ABS and 6 types of asset semasa. While for hutang, we have 2 each. Liability bukan semasa and liability semasa. So I call them LBS and LS. So the 2 types each, okay, we talk about LBS first lah. Liability bukan semasa is generally loan. We usually have only loan types under LBS. So you see the loan types are pinjaman bank and gada janji. So what's the difference there? I would say pinjaman bank is a normal loan. So it means like you just borrow from the bank, they approve of your loan, you just need to sign and they will release the money to you. But gada janji is different case. Gada janji is gonna request for you to janji of something. So it is like under the condition, you have to provide them something in return. Example, you need to find a guarantor for them or to exchange of valuables. So example, some people, right, when they want to borrow money, it's not because they're poor, it's because they wanted to start a business or something like that. But so in their hands, they actually have two houses that they own. So what the bank will do is they will want them to at least pass one house of almost the same value of how much they want to borrow in return. So this is like just to make sure you don't run away. If you were to run away, then the house can be dilelongkan. They can do it because the house will officially be under them now. So if let's say you did not run away, you pay your debts, pay back the loan as per plan, then what happens is they will give you back your asset law. So this is how gadai janji works. Pinjaman bank is usually for people who have a very good record. So it means like you used to have previous loan or even you have credit cards, but you pay them regularly, means on time lah, you do not have any debts. So then the bank will consider you as a creditable person, very trustable, so they will give you the pinjaman back. But if it's gadai janji, usually it's because number one, you have a lot of loan under your account. You're still in debt to many other banks, so they are worried that you cannot pay them back. They are one of them, right? Second is maybe because you do not have a lot of record. Just like when you guys graduate from uni, if you really want to start a business, you want to start up, borrow money from bank, you think it's easy? No, because you have no previous record of payment. They will not be able to trust you 100%. Even if your record is clean, doesn't mean that you will pay on time, right? So that's something that they're concerned about. That's why usually they will ask for a guarantor. Usually should be your parents or family members lah. Okay. All right. Now liabilities, the matter, one of it is account belong by a person lah, which I call them the pembekal, a supplier. Is that okay? Now the second one is the overdraft bank. Overdraft bank is where bank becomes negative. Overdraft bank is when bank becomes negative. So for those of you here that already done bab 2 with me before, then you would be able to know lah, that bank sometimes will be overspent. And when you overspend the money inside your bank account, what happens is it will be considered as a type of liability already. So here, right, for the exam questions, bank and overdraft bank is the same thing. Just one positive figure, and overdraft bank is that negative figure. Now, overdraft bank is not something that regular people can have. Yeah, you will actually have to apply for the service from the bank that you wanted to. Only they will give you the quota. So means like I apply for 10,000 overdraft. So for the month I applied for, I will be able to spend beyond my own bank account balance of a 10,000 ringgit. So of course it's like a borrowing, but you have to pay back in time lah. So I would say, since in our syllabus we cannot use credit card, right? So this is something like credit card. So they give you a quarter of money, you can use it within the month, and so after you use it, next month you have to pay. Yeah, so this is liabilities semasa. So the last one is modal, untung berhenti, and ambilan, which is under equity per milik. So we have three types here. Modal, right, is when you bawa masuk. Ambilan is when you have taken something out. So they are both very, I would say, it's a contrast, because modal and ambilan, they have their own usage, cannot mix. Modal, only positive. Ambilan, only negative. Is that okay? So they have their own role. So this is all about your per minute, of course. Your per minute can bring in the money. They can also be taking them out. So whenever it's brought in, I will put into the modal. Whenever it's taken out, it will be put into the ambilan. So this is the reason why we split it, right, is so that I know how much was the portion being taken out. And of course, in the year itself, I will also have earning or even to have kerugian. So if I were to not separate them nicely, I don't even know those money is brought in by the per minute. It's not by the shop earning, you know, it is personally brought in by the per minute. So we want to be able to differentiate them. That's why modal can only be purely when it's bawa masuk or memulakan perniagaan. Because as I mentioned already, if you want to start a business, you have to first bring in money of your own. So that's why model would be the crucial item at the beginning of your question. The beginning, as they give you assets, is also going to equal to your model. All right. Now, untung per se and rugi per se. This one, right, comes from having hasil to minus from belanja. So if I do not put the hasil in and I do not put the belanja in, I will not be able to find earning or suffering. So here, hasil and belanja for bab 2, they won't come out individually. It's always to be slotted in to the untung or the rugi bersih column. So what you do is hasil to plus, because hasil stands for income, while belanja means your expenses. So you tell me, I have sold something. Wow, I sell it for 10 ringgit. Means I earn 10. No lah. Before you sell the item, don't you need to purchase it? So if you purchase the item at 3 ringgit and you sold it at 10 ringgit, how much did you earn? You earn 7, because you have to take the hasil to minus the belanja, right? So that is why to find untung or rugi, it is going to get involved with hasil dengan belanja, which explains why in chapter 2, you do not need the hasil and the belanja column. They will just need you to put them all into untung per se later. Okay, so I finished with the explanation here already. So we can now officially start with the exercise part, but I would talk about the table first, then we can start to try. Okay, so page 7, guys. Format persamaan perikanan. So this is the formula again. Asset must equals to liability plus equity per minute. So when you're doing this table, you make sure you split them into their parts first, which is the line will begin here. Why? Because according to equation, asset is one side on its own, liability and equity per minute will be on the right-hand side, okay? So what you intend to do is to make sure they always balance. So let's say if I put 1,000 at asset here, I also want 1,000 at the liability and equity per minute. So even if I have nothing written inside liability, it's fine. I just need them, the left and the right, to balance. Is that okay? Left and the right side. And while the second type of scenario is where I have something removed from the asset and I have something gained back from the asset. And so I do not have anything recorded on the L and the EP. Is that fine? I say, yeah, because it equals to 0, right? And here, when negative 150 added with 150, isn't it also equals to 0? Yeah, so I think it's not that I want it to become 0, it's that the intention, both sides must end up the same. Including when I do this and do this. It is also considered as balance. So it's either you positive together, negative together, or mainly just one side that it can become 0 of its own. So this is how it works. Okay, now I've put down for you guys already lah. When it's secara credit, okay, you can choose from 2 types of name. Every time when you see secara credit, you put A, B. Okay, but since you buy, you have to pay. That's why we call it account. Belum bayar. Well, when you sell, you should be the one receive. But you haven't. That's why we call it belum terima. Okay, so you see the boxes here. I want to say a few scenarios because it's not necessary that they always give you the same things. So maybe you can box up this area here. Oh no, my line is broken. Wait, Okay. So model, ambilan, and untung per se, because this 3 is considered as equity per minute, right? So we say model is only to be used when there is bawa masuk. And if it's not bawa masuk, can you put into here? No. And this column should always stay positive. While ambilan is when diambil. So it's always going to be negative. Untung per se is meant for hasil to put in. belanja to put it. So whenever it's hasil, you plus. Whenever it's belanja, you minus. So they all have their own intentions, right? But what happens that during exam, they might purposely, okay? Example 1. Only given model column. Now, under this scenario, you don't have to worry because I've said already, in equity per minute, the most important item is going to be model. If you do not have model to start, it is impossible. So that's why if they only given you model column, then ambilan and UB will be put into model. So it can be positive, negative already. Because initially, if you had 3, right, means they will be of their own usage. But the problem now is I do not have ambilan. I do not have untung per se. How can I record into model? Of course, you have to go by their own way. You see, model is when I brought in. So what if when I take out, can I still plus in? Of course, cannot. So if you were to apply ambilan into the model column, you're supposed to do a negative for them. Same goes to whatever of untung per se. If it's a hasil, then of course you add inside model lah. But if it's a belanja, then you minus out from it. So this is example number 1. Okay, now example number 2. Given model and ambilan. So in that case, if model and ambilan is given, but one thing is missing, right? Untung per se. So model will be doing model stuff, ambilan will be doing also ambilan stuff, but untung per se put into model. Because I want to tell you guys that as you prepare your report, right, the intention of equity per minute is to help you find out the final figure of model. We call it the model AQ. So do you think ambilan is very important? No, ambilan is only the process. Main point is I want to find out what is the final figure for model. That's why if untung per se is really not given, then I will just put everything else into model. But when ambilan is given, then you put ambilan inside of nothing else. Is that clear? So the main character here for EPR is model sahaja. Ambilan and untung per se, they don't give you, then don't give lah. Just put all into the model column. Okay, so for the front part, right, remember that the money types that you can use is only tunai dengan bank. You were to tell me model have money, I say no. We are just following the concept of wang sebagai ukuran. Means I record things all in RM form. Doesn't mean that the money is there. All of them, excluding tunai and bank, is only value of the item. If you're telling me money, please take it from tunai and bank only, nowhere else. Okay, so that's all for now. Inventory is going to be for you to put in barang niaga. Okay, so at the end of this table, right, what you want to achieve is to be able to close it at the last row. Okay, to close it at the last row. You want it to be able to balance after finding each and every total of their own. So example, inventory, right? I want to know what's the final figure here. Perabot as well, I want to know for their own columns, yeah? And once more, I will do a total up of asset side and liability EP side. But the difference is like this. Asset side, right? Everything plus. Okay, everything plus. But at LEP, everything plus except for ambulan. Because ambulan is a bit special, yeah, okay? You will never get your ambulan to balance on. It's like this. If I tell you now, Permilik have taken out inventory of 200. So I will go to inventory, I will minus 200. And at ambulan, I will put like this. They are considered equal. Why? Because the whole ambulan column here is actually known as negative itself already. I do not need to put this negative further. If I do so, negative means negative, it will become positive. So you don't intend to change the original symbol, you see. I want to make sure it remains as a negative thing. So even if you don't see it as positive, it is actually technically balanced already. You don't need to put the bracket there. So earlier on in my Mandarin class, there were students asking me, teacher, what if I really want to put the bracket? I tell you, if you were to do that, you will get no marks for this point. So you have to follow by the latest rule, which is to not put any bracket here. So the problem is that at the end, right, you will also drag the 200 like this. So one thing you have to remind yourself is that this part must always be negative. So when you press on your calculator, you have to remind yourself, ambilan is negative, never positive. That's the only hard part lah. So you will see the effect is like this. Let's say lah, I total everything up. This is a 58,000 here. While the other side, because of the negative 200, you did something else, okay? Maybe I simply put the number first. It used to be 1,002 here. Okay, bank is 50,000. Sorry, missing. Kendaraan is let me see. 7,000. Okay, so the total model for the beginning, it was 58,200. Yeah, so what happened is I bring down the numbers, right? Inventory here will be left with 1,000. Kendaraan is 700. Bank is 50,000 still. So you add them together, it will equal to 58,000, right? But if you were to do the back part wrongly, you bring the 58,200 down, but yet you didn't minus it, you plus it. What you will get, the effect is 58400. You wouldn't get it to be balanced because 200 lah, not plus plus minus. Only you can get it gone. You see? So that's why for model and ambilan, you must make sure it is in a negative relationship so that you can get them balanced. Okay, so now we still have another 30 minutes, then I will have to start the questions ready. So as we explain, if you have any questions, you can ask me, yeah? Okay, teacher, is it that all ambilan column cannot put bracket? Yeah, correct. So jumlah there also cannot put. Everything cannot put negative. You have to remember it's negative on your own. So means you can't even write the negative symbol here. I don't need that. I want to tell you how the relationship goes. So everything cannot bracket. Okay, everything cannot bracket. That's right. Okay, come. So for the bottom part, I think we can try out the table first lah. If you cannot do the table, I don't think you can fill out the bottom as well. So that's why I will go ahead and explain for the question. Then we will try and see if we can proceed for the penyata kedudukan keuangan below lah. Okay, so let's go to page 8 then. Oh yeah, so I prepared the work like this lah. Page 8 have its answer paper on page 9. So the spaces are provided nicely for you. You just need to fill them up. Is that okay? All right, so now let's discuss on page 8. All right, so what is mentioned here? Encik Daud memulakan perniagaan Dawn Enterprise pada 1 January 2012 dengan membawa aset. Very good. Memulakan perniagaan, aset. Now, what you should be aware of is whenever you start a business, there should be model involved, right? So they purposely left you this sentence with given asset, which is this 3, but no model to be seen. So what you should do is to find out the model yourself. Now, to find it, just remember this formula lah. A equals to L plus EP. The beginning of your business shouldn't have any liability. It's totally fine one. Even if you have it, then just have it lah. But the normal way is shouldn't have L, just A to equals with EP. So since they mentioned that these are all assets, you can go ahead and add them together to obtain your model figure. Do you guys have your calculator? Yeah, please try and add and tell me what's the number. How much is 3,000 plus 37,000 and 12,000? Model. Anyone found? Okay, good, very good. 52,000. Okay, thank you, Chloe and Nicole. 52,000. So you're going to put that in. And actually, this is going to be the first row of table. Because we need to have a number to start off. Otherwise, if you have no money, how you gonna buy products in, right? So the main point is bank confirm must have money first lah, and the rest then is depends on questions. Okay, now, so let's copy to the first row of our table first. 3,000 is into Perawat, 37,000 into Kenderaan, and 12,000 into bank. 3,000 into Perawat, 37,000 into Kenderaan, and 12,000 into bank. So if you want the left and the right to balance, this is where the line split. Then the 52,000 you guys found for your model should be placed here into the model column. So we can take a look at the table first because you want to know what is provided to you, right? So later on, you will have no tunai to be used because the only type of money you have here is bank. Okay, well, for liability, you can see we have two, account belum bayar and pinjaman. So the difference is that pinjaman is only going to appear when it comes to pinjam, meminjam, while account belum bayar is talking about your pembekal. Okay, your pembekal. Whenever you buy or you sell. If you sell, then we will look at account belum terima, pelanggan. Okay, so untung bersih is meant for hasil to plus, belanja to minus. Okay, let's begin. Ambilan is negative. So for point 1 to point 9, what I would do is I will find all the key points inside first, and then we analyze who to positive and who to negative. Okay, come, go back to page number 8. There's 9 points. Okay, starting number 1. Beli barang niaga secara kredit. Barang niaga change to inventory. Secara credit, I said you always write down AB first. And since this one is beli, we have to pay for it. Bayar, yes, very good. ABB, correct. So you see, if I buy product, how would the product go? Is it gonna increase or decrease? The amount of items, yes, it will increase. So inventory here will be positive, while the amount you never pay actually also increase. Because you're supposed to pay, right? Money should decrease, but then there's no money involved. You also never pay. So the amount I'm going to be indebted to this person is going to increase. So both positive, 3,005. Okay, seems like we have time. So I'm going to do one step at a time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to the table and fill this transaction in so you can see whether it balanced or not. So inventory to plus 3,500. If it's just plus, right, no need to put any symbols, just write the number in. And another one is going to be account belum bayar with 3,005. So you see, balance. Okay, now moving on. Next one. Point number 2. Bayar sewa dengan cek. Now, I'm sure that you guys know what the check is going to be. Check would be bank, because you're paying, of course, you need money, right? So the bank would become lesser, of course, because you're paying. But what is it that you're paying? I say, as long as the back here is not talking about hutang, you're not paying back any debts, then this should be considered as a type of belanja. Belanja have no place specifically of their own. So what we will do is we will convert them into this column called as the untung bersih. And you think about it, if I earn money and I proceed to spend, it will make my keuntungan decrease as well. So for point 2, I will have both of them negative 600 ringgit. Bank 2 minus 600. Untung bersih to also minus 600. So you see them balance, both sides is negative. Okay, now point 3. Point 3 is going to be jual barang niaga secara kredit. Okay, but you see there's two different prices in the sentence, right? It's normal because if I am the seller, of course I will know what was the original cost of the product and I'm selling it at a higher price to my customers, you see. So barang niaga is definitely inventory. But since I am the one selling, it will decrease off by how much? The cost is 800 ringgit. My items is being taken out 800 worth. And as I sell, I did not receive money instantly. They decided that they want to go secara credit. I've already mentioned, whenever it's secara credit, you can write out A, B first, then to consider terima or bayar. Yeah, so if you sell, of course you have to terima, that's right. So I should be receiving, but I have yet to do so. That's why the amount belum terima bertambah. By how much? The harga is 1,009. So I have successfully sold the item to this customer at the price, very high price. It's like more than double, okay? My item is only worth 800, but I sell to them at 1,009. Do I earn anything? Of course. So even if I haven't received the money yet, I would have to record it now. Otherwise, as this person come back to pay me 1,009, how would I know what was the difference before compared to my cost? That is why you need to immediately record them into untung bersih. You have successfully earned 1,100 ringgit difference. Okay, so you're gonna record these three things into your third part, that row. Okay, so 800 from the inventory, 1,900 into account belum terima, 1,100 into untung bersih. Okay, so point 3 is that. Continue. Are you guys done? Can I move on? Point 4. Okay, good. Let's go on to point 4. Page 8, yeah? Okay, point 4 is bayar account belum bayar. You see, this is the difference between point 2 and point 4, right? Just now, sewa wasn't even a person. Sewa is rental. So it's a type of expenses because I said services, you don't own the house. So you have to pay for it. You have to pay for rental so you can use the house, right? To live inside. So same goes to this one here. It's also bayar, but the thing is you're not using their service. You owe them money. Of course, you have to pay them back, you see. So when you bayar for something you belum bayar, it will make the initial amount go lesser. How much you owe your supplier, it will become lesser. But the amount, okay, let's see. You have paid your account belum bayar with check 2850. Yes, correct. Hutang will minus. But as of what the value is, you have to consider later because you see, the check is worth 2850, right? So what the amount that I have released? I paid 2850. Guys, hold on. Give me a moment. Sorry guys, because my cat is complaining a lot, so I had to make sure he don't scream. If I let him go, he will be screaming. So that's why like this lah, okay? All right. So if he scream, you all scold him, okay? So cute. Hey, not cute at all. Okay. My boyfriend is having class on top also. He's screaming, 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 screaming until need to open the door, let him come out, noisy. Okay. So now hope he don't interrupt our class. I'm hugging him right now. Okay, come. Moji. Yeah, his name is Moji. Okay, come. Let's continue. All right, he's trying to run away, but yeah, you guys watch him for me, okay? Now, I continue with the topic just now. 4.4 is to bayar account belum bayar dengan check, right? So I was saying you have to be careful because whenever it comes to bayar hutang, you might be able to get a discount from it. Because if you were to pay early now, of course. So in that case, you are not sure about the hutang amount, right? Then I say you look at where the amount is being put. If they put 2850 after ABB like this, meaning what? Meaning that you used to owe them 2850. But this time they didn't do that. They put the 2850 after the word check. So of course, you think logically lah. If you were to pay for a debt, okay, the person say, okay lah, you pay me 2850. After that, hey, no, you change. Can you write another piece for me? You will be angry, right? Because check is not cheap as well. I think it's 50 cents per piece lah. People wouldn't play with you like that. Of course, they will summarize first. Okay, I give you discount 150. So you write me a piece of check 2850. So what was your initial debt then? If you think about it, I gave a piece of check 2850 to the supplier, and they gave me discount 150. That's why I pay only this figure. Then what was the before discount price? Can anyone count for me? What was the before discount price? 2850 plus 150. Yeah, yes, correct. You used to owe them 3,000. That is the debt you get to clear as you pay 2850. So for us, right, it's a plus point, of course. I can enjoy the item at a discounted price, you see. So maybe the initial product was 3,000. Now I only need to pay 2850 to have it. That's why the 150 is considered as a type of hasil, which we will convert it to untung bersih later. 150. Okay, so we try to like insert them into the table, right? So first one is to minus your account belum bayar by 3,000. Okay, next is from your bank, 2850. One more, 150 from untung bersih, but it's positive. Okay, so this is going to be how the record is done. So you see, if you compare the left and the right side, it's actually equal already, because the left side is negative 2850, while the right side is negative 3,000 plus 150. Isn't it also going to equal to negative 2850? Yeah, so how are you going to get it balanced? If you didn't do so, okay, what you did was you put negative 2850 here. Hey, sorry, my pen a bit, like this, okay. Under area, guys, what you will see is the effect on the left side is negative 2850, but the right side is only 2700. You know why? Because these two plus without 150 isn't it equals 2,700 negative. How to balance, guys? That's how you can check. And also, guys, you can do math. Okay, you know how math work, right? The equation is like this. Now, you're trying to find out what is the L figure. Well, they given you discount, that's 150, and your asset is having 2850. So you see, you do math, right? How to find the L out? You bring the 150 to the other side, negative. Isn't it L equals to negative 3,000? You can do by that if you're not sure, okay? All right, so we're done for point number 4. Any questions? If no, then I will move on to the 5th one. No, okay, come. The 5th question. Okay, so point 5. Point 5 is terima cek dari akaun belum terima berjumlah 12750. Okay, so check is going to be changed to bank. And you see, they say terima, right? Of course, it's going to be positive. Okay, terima means positive. And then account belum terima. I didn't receive from them previously. And now I received it. Of course, it will also get lesser. Okay, get lesser, 12750. So this one doesn't have any discount, because if there were to be discount, you realize there should be given 2 numbers, but here it's only 1 number, right? That's why we're going to plus the bank minus the account belum terima by 1270. So if you insert that, you will get your asset side to be 0, like this. Bank, positive 1270. Account belong to Rima, negative 1270. Isn't it already 0 on your asset side? So you do not need to fill up anything on the right because there's nothing related to them. So there's no such thing, because a lot of students initially when they learn, they will think that, okay, my left and right side must die put something, then only they can balance. No, it's not necessary. If you want it to balance, it can also be only one-sided record, but of 2 different columns. You cannot work with the same column 2 times. That's why you see it's already fixed. Each row is only 1 point. Will you ever have 1 point to have 2 rows? Never. Okay, all right, so this is for point number 5. Okay, so let's continue to point number, very noisy cat. Okay, so let's continue. Over here for point 6, okay, point 6 is pemilik membawa masuk tunai ke dalam perniagaan dan dibankkan. So I never care about the tunai word because it's not the final place it's going to belong to. So of course, initially the pemilik have brought in cash, but you see, in the table, there's no tunai at all. Where do you think it can be put lah? Of course, bank already, where else, right? So I will tell you guys, if the sentence stops at ke dalam perniagaan, and they never say bank, you still put inside bank. Because otherwise, where the tunai will be? Cannot must have somewhere. So which tunai bank both is money type. That's why you can actually put them together. So here, membawa masuk, do you guys know what to change to? The term starts from M. Membawa masuk is going to change to what word? Starts from M. Very good, Nico. Okay, so it's model. Good job, Nico. So model to plus. It can only plus. While bank, also plus, because the money came from outside. So of course, for the business, we gain money, and also we will explain it as model. Yeah, right. So let's move on. 3,000 model, 3,000 back. Okay, so last 3. Number 7, sekeping cek yang diterima daripada akaun belum terima 507 telah dipulangkan oleh bank dengan bertanda rujuk penyuruh bayar. Now the main point is here, dipulangkan oleh bank, rujuk penyuruh bayar. Cek tak layan. Okay, cek tak layan. What is the cek tak layan? Do you guys know tak layan? I don't want to lion you lah. Don't lion you means I don't accept the check. Is that okay? So the bank actually rejects the check and you don't get to receive the money. So if you understand, sekeping check yang diterima daripada ABT telah. If it's telah means before this, I already recorded it as receipt. You see? For me, right, we wouldn't know it's a check tak layan until few days later. So technically, as I received the piece of check, I would immediately minus from my ABT's hutang and plus it into my bank account. So now what should I do then? Of course, since it's a rejected check, this process should be reversed. So what happens is you will have your account belum terima to owe you back that amount. At the same time, for your bank account, it will also decrease by that exact amount, which is 507. So you can get terms from here, check and also ABT, but you do not go by plus and minus like the previous way. Here is to be rejected, so we reverse the set. Okay, yeah? So ABT to plus 507. Bank to, sorry, wrong. What did I do just now? Okay, sorry. Bank to minus 507, ABT to plus 507. So again, I have to balik, sorry. So ABT to plus back 507, bank to minus 507. So balance already, left and right is equal. Okay, last two. Point 8. Point 8 is pemilik telah mengeluarkan cek kegunaan pribadi. So from the term mengeluarkan and the kegunaan pribadi, we have proven that it is a type of ambilan. And as you know, ambilan is always negative. So we do not need to do anything negative anymore. Just go by positive. And while for the bank is being taken out, it will minus off. One positive, one negative. Okay, so ambilan 610 bank minus 610. Now, I already told you guys that the ambilan is always going to be looking imbalanced, but it is actually not imbalanced because the ambilan column itself is considered negative already lah. So it's fine to write it this way. Okay, now the last point. Last point, perniagaan telah meminjam pinjaman plus daripada bank 5,000. So I wouldn't decide it as bank immediately because you have to see where the money is being used. So it says wang tersebut dimasukkan ke dalam account bank. Okay, so confirm I put it into the bank just like normal. So both also positive 5,000. Okay, so let's put in All right, let's balance them. Teacher, why pinjaman? Because pinjaman, right, is under L, right? Liability. So you see, when you borrow the money from bank, the amount that you borrowed is increased, right? And at the same time, you will owe bank. You will owe to the bank. So the amount you owe to the bank increases. Yeah, so it's as a record that I borrowed the 5,000. So I keep it as a record. As I pay it back, then the pinjaman will decrease. So it's exactly like how account belum bayar works. When I buy and I in debt, I will increase over here. And as I pay back the hutang, then it gets lesser. So pinjaman is the same case as well. I borrow and the amount that is gonna be in debt to the bank will increase. Is that okay? All right, so then let's bring down the numbers. That it should be like this. Perabot and kenderaan got no changes at all. Both also 3,000. Kenderaan is 37,000. I find those easy ones first, okay? Now, 3,500 minus 800 is 2,700. Account belum bayar, left with 500. Pinjaman, 5,000. Modal, 55,000. Pinjaman, 610. And untung bersih 650. Okay, so we just need to make sure that these two columns is not wrong because they have the most numbers, right? So bank 12,000 to minus 600 minus 2850 plus 1270 3,000 minus 507 minus 610 and plus 5,000. Can you guys find it? I hope you do. So for bank, the number, okay, you can check. I know that some of you are pressing on your calculator. Don't worry, okay? But you just need to see whether the number matches with mine. Okay, so you should get it to be 16703. 16703. Or for account belum terima, 1137. Yeah, so now what you do, add all the things on your asset together. Everything, the total is 60540. 60540. Well, for the liability and equity per minute side, we just need to double check if it gets to balance or not lah. Also this. So if you cannot balance, the only reason I think I suspect lah should be because of here. you should make sure that as you press on your calculator, you minus 610. If you didn't do that, you will get a different number. Okay, so that's it. We have done balancing. Now we have 4 more minutes. I will continue with the PKK below lah. Just telling you the arrangement, okay? Now, when we do penyata kedudukan kewangan, you just want to copy every single thing from this row, which is the bottom row, into the report because we're talking about end of the month. So I don't want anything before that. I want the final figure, you understand? So the section is like this. We have asset to equals with L plus EP. So what's your intention of doing this report is that when you show outsiders, right, you do not show them this, this is just your calculation. When you want to show, you will show the penyata kedudukan kewangan. So you have to rearrange the things until you get it back to 60540. Then it should be the formal one already. No? Okay, so asset that remember we go by the bigger one first. So of course, we start from asset bukan semasa. Asset bukan semasa. Well, on the other side, right, which is on the right side lah. Here we will start from equity per minute. So because you need to understand lah, for priority wise, of course, equity per minute comes more important than liability. I would have AP even before L. That's why this would be the beginning of your right side. Beginning of your right side. So this is left and right, yeah. Now, we copy in our asset bukan semasa. Berabot kenderaan, that's the only two. You put both their numbers on the second column. Technically, this is the second, okay? So I will put the 3,000 of the berabot and 37,000 of the, wait, guys. Oh my God. Not me. Sorry, guys, chaos. My cat almost gonna break all my cups. I have to save my cups, okay? 37,000. Panic lah, okay? So 3,000, 37,000, okay? These two, Then you add it together. This should be easy, right? Total to 40,000. 40,000. Okay, then what next? Bottom, asset semasa. Which is the rest of the asset law? Is that okay? It's quite easy to understand. So yeah, as long as you can identify your areas, then that should be enough for your rest of the item. So I have these three. I put the numbers down first. The sequence is to put them in front because you want to be able to tell your pemilik how much of asset bukan semasa they have and how much of asset semasa they have. So that's why we split the numbers first. And the inventory, right, make sure you add on the word AQ for it because it's already at the end of the month. Okay, then ending account belum terima. All right, you can go on and add the three numbers together to find a total for asset semasa only, which will get you to 20540. Now, you do not need to total them out right now because you need the other side to balance together. So that's why here we will start with our equity per minute. A reminder, at the beginning, this model hour comes from the model column. Is okay? So I just draw a line here because a lot of students thought that model RQ is this 55,000 or model hour is supposed to be this beginning amount. Say it's not like that because model hour is where you haven't involved with untung or even little boy making me okay, model hour and then untung bersih only to ambilan. So our sequence is model hour plus untung bersih, leave a row empty, ambilan, then to model RQ. Yeah, so the sequence should be this. Okay, so then we put everything on the last column, 55,000. You add it with 650 first, which will help you in getting 55,650. Then you minus off with the ambulant. Here you can put bracket already. to become 55,040. So what's next is that you leave a row empty. You go on with liability bukan semasa. Let me finish it up, guys, just a little bit more, okay? So liability bukan semasa. We have the only one, which is the pinjaman. Okay, so you have to write in the pinjaman. Oh, I put wrong, is it? Terbalik. Okay. Sorry. Terbalik. I just realized. Never mind, guys. Maybe if you already written same as me, then you can help to do this. Yeah, it's my mistake. I accidentally terbalik them. Yeah. Okay, thank you for telling me, Ryan. Is that how to read your name? Ryan. Okay, so yeah, supposed to be terbalik. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, so we continue for the liability bukan semasa. We have only one, which is pinjaman. So since it's only one, right, you do not need to show like bringing to the front or back, because the one number don't need to total up, right? If your permit were to ask you how much is LBS, you can just say 5,000. Okay, you can see, right? So we put straight to the back and leave one more row empty. Go with liability semasa. And this is the last thing you have to put in for your PKK, which is called the account belum bayar. All right, so the number is 500. So by adding them together, you can find a balancing point. It's either you put directly under 500, or you can leave one row to make them looser, not so tight together. Okay, so we make sure they are balanced on the same row, then add together equals to 60,540. The other side is also 60,540. Whether or not you want to put the double line, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. If you didn't put the double line, they won't minus your mark. Is that okay? Right. So the whole intention of the persamaan perikanan, the table is meant to help you find numbers for the inner part. But to be honest, the main mark, it should be from your PKK. So if you are able to do your jadual but not able to do your PKK, you might not be able to get the mark as well. So you must make sure to spend your time wisely, okay? Don't waste too much time on just the jadual. You also have to prepare the space for your PKK. All right, so that's all for today. I hope you guys did learn or even revision for the front part, because it's been quite a while since you learned the chapter 1, right? So I hope to see you guys again next time. If you're my usual student, then I'll see you in my class. Okay, so bye-bye. I will upload the video on YouTube. Yeah, if you need to replay it, you can just go to my YouTube channel. All right, bye. See you.